Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Night Shirt Jeff here on the Monkey Caviar Podcast Network. I am Tiny, your host. With me, as always, a woman who would throw her top away just to win a challenge, Judi Sunshine. How are you, Judi?
Hello. I'm great. How are you?
Would you go topless to win a challenge?
If I had to, but not nearly as quickly as Michaela did. It would have to be like way more intense, and not for reward. It would have to be for immunity.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not stripping down for reward.
That took balls, so to speak. Like, I was so impressed by her because she's great at challenges, man. Both challenges.
She is a beast.
She was definitely the millennial MVP in terms of like fierceness, if not strategy.
100%. She was crazy good.
Oh my God. And she was just so funny about it too. And even when she got off, she wasn't all like, oh my gosh. She was just like,
Well, she's got a rocking body. She can do whatever she wants. I mean,
well, hell yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah, like, and she's just, sorry, I like
a little visitor. All right, well, let's get into this episode. It was a good one. It was called "Who's the Sucker at the Table?" I think we know now who the sucker is. It's Chris, in case you didn't know. How do you think Chris handled that blind side of Paul when he came back from Tribal and was like, I'm not going to talk to you tonight. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
I said Chris being baby. That was my note.
He was a little bit of a baby, but that was a pretty big blind side, so I guess he just really didn't see it coming.
I guess I thought the contrast was interesting between him and how Adam and Zeke handled it when Hannah was badgering them. And they're like, listen, we're not being personal. We just don't want to talk right now, but we will later. Whereas Chris, the ostensible adult, he's all like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to go make my own tribe somewhere else. And it's like, I get it. And I know I've never been in that situation. And he's a big dude, and he's probably, like, starving harder than a lot of them are. But still, you asked, so I thought he was being a baby.
Yeah, I thought he was being a baby. I thought it was I told my girlfriend that as we were watching it that she said somebody said Jessica said, "Oh, it wasn't an easy choice," and he said, "It looked pretty easy," and I was like, "Oh, that's totally what I would have said. That's totally me." Like, I would have just been there like being an asshole, just like, "Oh my God, why did you do that? You just stupid."
I probably would have too. I mean, in my mind, I can be like, I would have done this and that, but my emotions get the best of me all the time. And my temper. Oh yeah, God, when you're hangry and all that.
Yeah, I have no temperament for the games that I love. You know, Big Brother, I would be horrible at Big Brother.
Yeah, you're saying that.
Yeah, I would be bad at Survivor. I'd probably be first boot. I certainly wouldn't make it to jury. No way.
I don't know. If you were self-aware enough to be prepared for that possibility, you might surprise yourself. Kind of like David.
I am self-aware enough to know where my position is going to be, and I know, the kind of competitor I am. I'm very competitive, so it would be very difficult for me to throw a challenge, almost near impossible. But I could do it if I really, really had to.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't have problems cutting throats and being mean to people because that's me. But I don't think I could win a jury vote simply because I don't have the tact to do it nicely.
Fair enough.
No, I would just be like, "Nah, you suck, and we're getting rid of you." So that's all there is to it. Were you surprised that Sunday felt bad afterwards? The next morning when she was talking to Lucy, she was like, "I kind of feel bad about sending Paul home."
She needs to do something more interesting for me to have feelings about what she says or does.
Agreed. She's purple.
Very nice.
She's purple.
Like, I mean, I have no problem with her. I have enough feelings about the other players that she needs to just, like this week with Lucy, she finally was interesting. Now she's
she kind of reminds me a lot of Dawn Meehan, who played with Cochran.
Yeah, I could see that.
I really expect her teeth to fall out, and she's going to start crying at any minute.
Oh, you mean Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Yeah, totally. I could not think of who she reminded me of because I grew up in kind of like a lot of church environments and,
Yeah, she's every Minnesota mother. Right? It's every mother I met in Minnesota. So yeah, that's
And that
exactly
could
what.
be a wonderful thing. And I actually really liked Dawn, although I didn't finish her second season. She was on a second.
Yeah, she was. She came
Okay.
back with Cochran. Fan
Yeah,
first
that
favorite.
all blended together in my mind a few of those seasons there for a while when I hadn't like started getting like back into it.
Yeah, fans' favorites was Cochran's win.
Yes.
And the other one was they voted Cochran out, and who won that season?
That's the one I saw, the whole season. I didn't finish Fans versus Favorites.
Can't remember who won that season.
Sophie.
That was
no. Was that Sophie?
No, that was Rebecca Lowe, and the girl that saved the teeth, Brenda. It was Brenda, Cochran, Dawn. Ozzy was on that season. I don't remember. Crap. All right. Well, anyway.
Well, they weren't available for a long time, or I would know them much better. You know, like the ones that came out on DVD for the most part, I know really well. So It's not for lack of trying on my end, CBS.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to watch. I think they're available on the All Access, but I haven't looked. But I have that now for Big Brother. So
the pace too with the DVDs. Like I think they're all available at this point.
Yeah, I think so too. So Lucy has an analogy about cheating and then fixing a broken relationship that makes her come off like she's cheated in a relationship before.
Yeah, all nonchalant. Like when you do it, this is
like when you cheat on somebody, then you got to go back and like make it right. And I'm like, why didn't you just not cheat on them?
Yeah.
I look. I didn't like Lucy. She had the resting bitch face. I called it. And she's not a resting bitch. She is a bitch. She's a mean, nasty person, and she got what was coming.
I guess I couldn't figure out, like, I didn't get enough time to know her, because I can go either way with, I think it was a tribal when she's like, that's how I talk, and a lot of times I really get along with my other women who talk like that, because I sort of need that in my life, but they have to be charming enough to pull it off. You can't be just bitch. Like, when she talked about her family, I actually felt bad for her, but at the same time, it's like, you are at least my age, so how do you not know that just because your family listens to you when you do that, that doesn't mean other people will, because your family loves you. These people don't necessarily love you. They're actively fighting against you, so that's not really, I didn't find that to be very intelligent, even though I think she is intelligent.
Yeah, I don't think that her family likes her either. I mean, they
don't always like me.
Yeah, they may love her out of unconditional love that you have for family, but they don't have to like her. And she's not likable. She was mean and bossy. Have you ever seen anyone go from being so purple, so not a factor in the game, to all of a sudden being the boss in charge as fast? And it's like Big Brother, it's HOH-itis. This is exactly what it was. She took power of the tribe and felt all-consuming power. Don't talk to people. Don't do what I say. All that, and yeah, that doesn't work out. She's worse than a secret agent Philip Shepard, in my opinion, as far as telling people not what to do and what not to do. I'm not a big fan of people who tell people what to do.
Me neither.
Because basically, if you're telling me what to do, you're telling me what's best for your game. And if I'm playing my game, your game shouldn't matter to me.
Yeah.
And
you have to make it seem like their idea. Like
you can make anybody think your idea is their idea if you do it right.
Yeah.
But you just come up and go, look, we're going to vote Jessica out. You don't talk to her. You don't talk to anybody else. You just go and write it down, and you'll be farther in this game than you were this week. That's crap. That's bad play on her part.
Agreed.
All right. Then they jump over to the millennials. Do you think the millennials made a mistake going on a goat hunt while Adam ditched around camp looking for an idol?
The whole thing was weird to me because it grossed me out and scared me, and I was really glad they didn't catch anything, but we didn't get one of those warnings, so I was hoping they wouldn't. You know, like, warning, the future scenes contain disturbing material, like when Scoopin caught one in Australia.
Yeah, that was great. Scoopin caught a pig.
But then I also heard people saying that maybe that was actually a trick of the editing, and they were actually all hunting for an idol. Because, like,
totally
maybe
possible.
Doing that whole, if one finds us, we all find it. I don't know. That was weird and confusing.
Yeah, it seems by our next on segment, that happens next week at Gen X, that everybody starts looking for an idol at once, and it's crazy idol talk. So that was in the preview. So let's hope that happens, because that's always a fun episode.
Yeah.
Were you happy that he found a clue for the idol? Let's not get to whether he found the idol or not, but were you happy that he found at least a clue?
Adam?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Adam.
Yeah, you've been liking Adam a lot.
He was my first pick.
I think he had a true millennial reaction when he read the clue and said, "Why can't it just be here?"
I know, but I also totally fell for it. And it's just because he got so excited and he thought he was having that moment. And then he's like, no.
Look, I've seen he's had to have seen enough Survivor to know when he saw what he got, it was a clue.
I know.
Don't be disappointed when you open the clue because it's not right there given to you, handed to you. That was a very millennial statement. It really was.
But one thing that I like,
I'm glad they left it in, but
he's aware enough. I think, it's dangerous for him to have to keep separating himself, because that can be the mark of death too. So I
absolutely.
think also that, like, double, not even just the I have to keep looking, but also, like, I have to put myself in danger again. I think that there was that element of.
Yeah, I think so too. I know he needs that immunity, and it's going to be even more powerful now that he's going to take it to a tribe swap. So that's going to happen next week. So that's excellent for him. He's in great shape.
Yeah. Are we sure it's going to be a swap, though? What if he's just fucking with them and says, drop your buffs, and they're just going to each other's islands and staying in the same tribes or something?
We have even numbers for the first time in 2 weeks. So, yeah, I think it's a swap.
Okay.
Well, 4 weeks is about right for the first swap. So, yeah, we're about on pace for it. Okay. So, yeah, I do. And we'll talk about the ramifications of said swap in a little bit. But they went to the reward challenge, which I love this reward challenge.
Yes, they do.
In the crashing waves of the beach. Apparently, they did not plan on the storm surge that they got.
Jeff was so funny.
Yeah, when Jeff almost went down, that was great. Were you shocked by the outcome? Were you shocked?
No.
I mean, I thought Gen X had it in a bag from the get-go.
I was impressed by both of the tribes. Like, I thought both had interesting strategies. Like, one put their biggest person, one put their smallest person. And I thought both were legit strategies. Like, because, the bigger guys had the bigger reach, and that helped them with the physical part. But in the end, it didn't matter because it all came down to the puzzle. And I thought they worked really well together.
No, this is a reward challenge, not immunity. There was no puzzle.
But wait, what? Oh, I'm thinking of
just
the other
rings. Rings.
Yes,
rings and wrestling. You're getting ahead of me.
Yeah.
So Michaela went beast mode in this reward challenge. She lost her shirt, lost her top, continued to play on like a champion. And Gen X, Chris just grabs two of their guys, holds them up, and David just scoots right to the pole. Bing. That shocked me that they put Chris and David out there together. I know Chris is huge. He's enormous. But I would have thought they would put him with Ken. Just to that seems to me about their best athletic pair.
Mm-hmm. That is
Ken, and I figured I thought they were going to put them together. They didn't. They ended up going with David, and it worked out twice. So good for them.
Yeah.
Steaks and sausage, right on. It's always a good. It's always a good reward to get the barbecue. So I loved it. What's his name? Millennial. Not Taylor. The other one.
Jay.
Jay. I love the Jay called Chris Hulk. It's like, come on, Hulk, let's go. No, that was pretty fun. Good challenge. I liked that it almost knocked Jeff on his ass.
I know, that was awesome.
was awesome. And it was weird. What struck me as weird is they got done with the challenge and they didn't go directly back to Gen X camp to show us reward. Like normal, it would be, you won the reward, here's your stakes, let's see everybody doing their stakes. But they went back to millennials.
Yes.
And so Adam could find the idol.
Right. Okay, that's what happened, because I did notice that they didn't show them enjoying the reward.
Yeah, not so much with the reward. It was they went right back to Adam and him cracking the shell open, and then Hannah immediately yelling as he's tossing the shell away, like throwing it over his shoulder like an idiot. She's like, hey, how's your idol search going?
Yeah, and that was... I liked both of them, so I didn't want that to happen. I liked that he noticed the sheltered, because I feel like a lot of people wouldn't have noticed that. And as somebody who appreciates words and spelling and things like that, they made it a little easier by putting the dash in between shell and turd, but I still liked that he noticed it.
I like what they're doing with the idols, hiding them inside coconuts and shells, and it's not like almost impossible to find if you're looking in trees,
Right.
Because for 32 seasons, if you see a rock in a tree, there's an idol under it, because rocks don't get in trees. So that's what you look for on Survivor, rocks in trees.
Right.
Now it's coconuts laying on the ground, and there's coconuts everywhere. So that's a crazy, crazy twist for them. I really dig it.
Yeah.
I wish they wouldn't mark them so much, so that maybe somebody could just go for a coconut, crack it open in the middle of the camp, and boom, idol falls out. That would be crazy. Not even knowing that they were doing that, just going for a coconut, and boom, idol falls out, and everybody would be like, oh.
Like when they did the idol in the boat season or two ago, the whole hiding idols at challenges or clues at challenges.
That was my favorite in the second chance twist, when they put the idols in the challenges, and that's when that first time Kelly Wentworth. The first time Wentworth went for an idol, it was so dramatic. I was crazy on the edge of my seat. Not so much when Jeremy did his, but Kelly's first one was amazing. That was great.
Yeah.
They should definitely bring that back. I was a big fan of that.
Why did he try on the necklace, though? That really upset me.
I would put it on. Why not?
There when you're trying to be slick, though.
He's got a camera crew with him, and he's in the middle of nowhere. They know what's going on. I mean,
yes.
All they can say is, how'd your idol search go? If he says, I didn't find it. If he can sell that he didn't find it, then it's like, well, the camera crew will be out with me tomorrow.
Yeah.
So good on him. It didn't look like she saw that he had it, but he might want to dispose of his shell a little more discreetly than just chucking it over his shoulder. That's kind of dumb. So then finally they go back to Gen X, and we get to see the reward a little bit. And Lucy is just playing poor. It's bad gameplay. She takes David and Ken to the well, and and really gets on him about not talking to anyone else. And why be a dictator? Why come into, if your tribe gets in power, or if your side of your tribe gets in power, don't be a dictator. Just be be cool.
Yeah.
There was no cool in her, and that's why tribal did not go her way.
Yeah, and Ken is an emotional person, and I don't know if that's going to make him strong or weak in the end, but he's totally someone I would align with. Because he seems... Yeah,
I do like Ken. I like that Ken is so in with David, and I don't think that this vote tonight or last night it's going to change that a whole lot. I think they're still going to be tight. I think Ken's going to be like, God damn, that was a good move. And I didn't think it was a great move. Fun move, great TV, but you protect yourself with an idol. You don't use it on somebody else.
Yeah, I have such...
Especially not someone that's not in your alliance. Like, he's trying to pull her over with this play, and if he was going to stay on that tribe with her, it would probably work. But the swap coming up could make that the worst move, because it could have no proof. She could be on a different tribe, not be able to help him at all, and he has no idol anymore.
On the other hand, they won't be getting paranoid as much, hopefully, about him having an idol and flushing it out like they sometimes do. Like if there was any inkling, there was this one part where David was talking in a confessional and he was saying something about he thinks he knows Lucy's lying, or was that Jessica? But I think it was Lucy. And then he said,
I think it was Lucy.
I know she knows. And the way he said it, his eyes, I kind of believed him, and I don't know why he thought he knew that, whether he was just being paranoid, but he looked too calm in that moment. He's always so frantic. So I felt kind of like he had other reasons that maybe we're not seeing yet. And I think
hope so. I'm liking this guy more and more every week. I didn't like him at first. I thought he was kind of whiny, and I don't want to say slight, but he's not a big guy. And as I'm a huge individual, I'm 6'6". So, when somebody is, 150 pounds, to me, it's like, it's laughable. My God, you're so small. He's not manly. He's not, athletic. He's very intellectual, and that's cool, and that works for him. But Survivor can be rough, and he may get his. I'm still not sure if he's going to make the merge.
I don't know.
I
feel like he's getting a bit of a winner's edit in theory, though.
I do too. I think he's getting a really good edit. Zeke and Michaela are getting great edits.
I love Michaela. I
think Hannah's getting a really good edit.
Hannah?
Yeah.
You think?
I do. I think Hannah's the dark horse, because who's gonna waste it to vote out Hannah?
I do really like her, so I hope you're right.
Yeah, I think she's an easy take to the end. I think I can beat her, but if she comes up with a couple of strategic moves after the merge, she can win some jury votes. I like to keep an eye on Hannah,
like Aubrey 2.0.
A little bit. I like the immunity challenge.
Yeah.
But how hard was that word puzzle?
I felt
45 minutes.
I know, and I'm good at. I feel like that would be something I'd be stronger at than other challenges, but that looked really, really, really hard.
45 minutes, and the first half of the challenge was totally useless. It did nothing. It did nothing to separate the game. They should have offered. If they would have offered whichever team got it first, all their numbers first, if they'd have offered them an extra clue towards what it was, that might have made that first part necessary. But without it, the first part of the challenge was completely unnecessary. There was no advantage to getting there first, other than you got to open your stuff first. And then 45 minutes later, the other team wins. So I just didn't understand how. I understand we do race to get to a puzzle challenges all the time on Survivor. But you got to imagine that a 30-letter, 5-word phrase is going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So I didn't particularly like this immunity challenge. I like the chair aspect and getting them up and pulling the stuff down. I really dug that. But like I said, it had no bearing on the challenge. So it was just kind of. Zeke was super smart and figured it out.
Yeah.
Zeke, he wasn't even doing the puzzle, and he tells him, someone's flame's going out. And, oh, well, there it is. Bam.
That's smart,
so,
too.
yeah, no.
Always afraid.
Super smart. He's crazy smart. Like I said, Zeke and Michaela, so growing on me. I love them both. All right, so that takes us pretty much to Tribal. And there wasn't a whole lot of back at camp after the challenge. It was a little bit. So did you smell this blind side of Lucy coming?
The blind side, yes, but I didn't necessarily think that David was going to do what he did. I thought if anything,
when Tribal started, who did you think was going to go home?
I still thought Lucy.
I thought Jessica was going home.
You did.
Yeah, well, I don't see a reason to play my hidden immunity idol on someone that's not in my alliance.
I just couldn't tell which way the other people were going, though.
Well, I figured if Lucy and Brett and Chris were all voting for Jessica, Cece was kind of a wild card. But if you had David and Ken voting for Lucy. And then everybody else voted for Jessica. All you really needed to do was pull Jessica, which Ken tried to do, but he did it so poorly that she ran back and told Lucy.
Yeah, but I didn't understand all of how that transpired, or really where I didn't understand what anyone was thinking. In my opinion, David giving the idol to Jessica was just as logical as anything else than anything anybody did with the running and the snitching and she said I didn't get anybody's motivation in any of that, which I know we don't always see, but it was frustrating.
Yeah, but there was no consequence to his action. He went and told Jessica what Lucy's plan was, right? Mm-hmm. Jessica runs back to Lucy and says, Ken just told me your plan.
Yeah.
Lucy doesn't change the target off of Jessica to Ken.
Yeah.
Right there, Lucy should have been, well, we should get Ken out because he's talking shit.
Yeah.
But she doesn't flip the script at all.
I didn't even think of it that way. That's a good point.
I mean, that's not taking care of yourself in Survivor. If somebody comes to me and says, that person was saying your name, that person's got to go.
Yeah.
And so she gets this information from someone she's allegedly aligned with, who comes up and says, hey, I know we voted together last time, and Ken just told me we're going to write your name down. And Lucy's like, oh, well, yeah, kind of. Like, it's just the worst. So, yeah, that she needed to flip it on to Ken, and she didn't, and that's why she went home. They had split every vote up until this one.
Yeah.
Didn't split it. They went home on it. So he played it at the right time, David did. But Lucy failed to change the target. And that was inevitably her downfall.
I like how you put that.
And David, for his part, sees Cece walking by him and just says, we're going to vote Lucy. And that's what Cece does. She votes Lucy. In just a passing comment, he doesn't have that other vote, Where else would, if Cece plays her vote for Ken, that tribal, we have a three-way tie. We have one vote for Cece, one vote for, we'd have two-way tie. One vote for Lucy, no, three. Ken, Lucy, and Jessica would Ken, Lucy, and Cece would have been tied. So he was so sure that she was going to write down Lucy that he didn't inform Ken of the plan. Because Ken still wrote Jessica. Yeah. So it was a crazy big, I don't know that it's a big move, but it was a crazy move.
Yeah. It's controversial. It seems like a controversial one, and I do have mixed thoughts on it. But I think in the end, it'll be better because I think he knew he was in the bottom of an alliance before.
All right. So if they go back, and at least we'll have one day back at camp where he's going to try to set up his foursome with Cece, David, Ken, and now Jessica. Do you feel Jessica owes him now?
Yes.
Because he saved her life. He totally saved her life.
I mean, it is Survivor, and people have made moves in the past before thinking, oh, they owe me now, and then next episode, that person votes for them. But I think in this case, her eyes were bugging out of her skull so hard, I think that she will definitely be loyal to him for at least one vote, because I can't, unless there's a swap, but if there is a swap, then I don't know. But say if things remain the way they were, I don't think she would turn on him at all. I
don't either. But with the swap coming, it doesn't look good for him. He's got to keep her on his team. If he does, then it's going to work great for him. Especially in a swap situation where they may go in down numbers. He's going to have her locked to his hip, and that's good for him. But if they're on separate tribes, it was a waste.
Do you think, though, he knows about her special reward thing, or I don't know what they're calling it, that she got about day 36, where she gets a huge advantage? If not, she gets to
probably not.
Because that would be a special bonus if she gives it to him if she gets voted out before him.
Oh, that's right. She does have to give it away, right?
Yeah, that's one of the.
She has to give it away. So maybe he gets it now for saving her ass. So at least she gets something out of it.
Possible winners at it. I don't read spoilers, so I'm never talking spoilers. I'm just always theorizing. Like,
Yeah, no, I agree. His edit's good. Like I said, we talked about that. Ken's edit is good.
Michaela's edit's good.
Michaela and Zeke, and I think Hannah. I don't like the episode or the edit that they're giving the showmans. I think that's a waste. Michelle has been gone since she worked Hannah at Tribal. She hasn't been a part of the last 2 episodes. And that's because millennials haven't gone to Tribal, so they're not focusing on them. I get it. But I mean, there's stuff going on at that camp. It's just, there's not enough going on for us to sit in for an hour.
Yeah, I wish more of a dark horse than Hannah, though, at this point, which I could be completely off base, but that's just sort of this weird vibe. And I'm not sure. Maybe it was watching her do the puzzle with Figgy. She just seems really smart to me. And I don't know if it's something I'm reading into it, and I just feel like maybe we haven't seen the first or last of Michelle yet.
Or maybe she's just smart on the millennial tribe. We'll have to see. Once they get together, we're going to see who's really smart and who's just smarter than the other people in their tribe.
Right. Oh, okay. I see.
I don't. Yes. Like I think that Michelle is smart. I think David is much smarter.
David, I think, might be the smartest one there, point for point. If I had to pick, though, Adam, though, I think he's young, but I think Adam he's my boy.
Okay, so there's gonna be a swap next week. It's drop your buffs in the preview. So give me 3 people from your millennial tribe that you want to stick together.
Ooh, I think I have this one. Because I finally remembered to write down who I thought would get voted out next. But I didn't anticipate this question, but I was thinking about who I would align with. And, I only have my Gen X theoretical tribe. Millennial, I would want Michaela, Adam, and Hannah.
All right, I want Michaela, Adam, and Zeke.
Okay. I like Zeke.
That's fair.
I wouldn't be upset with that. I have nothing against Zeke. Just so far, definitely Michaela and Adam. Those are definitely my 2 favorite from millennials.
From Gen X, I want to see Chris and David together.
Chris and David. For like strength and like need to bond before the merge to make them strong.
If I'm David and I've given up my idol, I need a meat shield. And I'm going to put the biggest, giantest meat shield in front of me, and that's Chris. Yeah. Everybody's going to vote Chris out before David as far as physical challenges go once you get to the merge. But Chris is a big, big factor to go home next week if he ends up on a bad swap with more millennials than Gen X. They're going to go after the big guy.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works before the merge.
If he can exhibit with his words that he's been alienated by his tribe, they might trust him as a loose cannon, or not a loose cannon, but like just a pluckable person who they could use and who would be loyal to. Like, because now I think, sorry.
Go ahead.
Like, I was going to say that if they were to stick together, I would think they'd vote out Brett next. Like, all things being equal, because they would see Chris as still a powerhouse for the challenges. Whereas I like Brett, and I know he's your pick to win. I could still see that happening. He's smart. But I could see that being the way the vote went next time if the Gen X tribe were to be the same tribe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it were the same tribe. But I really, the swap is what I'm more focused on and how Chris deals with it. If he ends up on a tribe that's got 4 millennials and 3 Gen X, those 4 millennials are going to go, this dude is huge. He can beat us in physical challenges. We have to get rid of him. It's Survivor 101. You vote out weakness, then you vote out strength, then you vote out weakness, then you vote out strength. That's the way it works. You don't want Chris to make the merge where he can compete individually, because he can go on a huge immunity run if it's physical challenges.
In that case, I'd vote off Michaela. I think she's the best challenges even more than Chris is great, but I think Michaela has this amazingness to her at challenges where she could beat Chris at other ones, especially involving the ones that favor the women with balance, endurance,
hanging. Anything where he has to hang, he's screwed because he weighs too much. So lean back until you can't lean back anymore, he's done.
And they're not going
like that
against her in an individual immunity challenge. They just don't do that. No,
they don't do like physical knock her off the rolling, or the rolling log or whatever. That's always man up.
Challenge thing and from plow.
That'd be great, right? Just watch him take the thing and smack Michaela with it.
Or vice versa. I feel like
vice versa. Yeah, I'd love to see her take him down. All right, do you think this swap will break up the showmance between Figgy and Taylor?
I feel like they're playing it up to get brought back in future seasons, to be completely honest with you. Like, I don't like the whole, they're breaking up a future love to be split apart. And it's just like, she's not saying I love him like she really loves him. She's saying it like girls talk about, like, other girls that way when they're straight. Like, it's just, I feel like they're playing it up for the show.
I think they're playing it up as well. Two of these castmates are on next season, by the way.
Two of these castmates. That's not fair.
I do know who they are.
I don't want to know.
I'm not telling you.
But okay, anyway, I'm sorry, but I didn't answer you. I don't think anybody takes them that seriously. I think they're smarter people, and if anything, they're playing up the whole, we're just interested in flirting because we're so cute. But actually, they're all really smart. And I think that Figgy, watching her do the puzzle, I think she's underplaying how smart she is in favor of playing up her hotness to be less of a threat. And I think that in this day and age, yes, you want to break up the showmance, but if they haven't done it yet, I think at this point they're actually less of threats on their tribe, especially if there's a swap.
All right, devil's advocate. we roll the swap, and the team one tribe ends up being Figgy Taylor, Michaela Zeke, and then David, Ken, and Cece from
God, I would love that tribe.
Love that tribe, right? Everybody on that tribe is cool. Would not Michaela and Zeke jump over with these guys to break up this showmance? Michaela hates her.
David, Cece, and who was the other one you said?
I said Ken.
They're all super smart and they're all likable. They're all good players in their own right. So I don't know. I think in that case, the 4 might stay strong and pick off the 3, given the opportunity. I think that could be a very smart decision. Or make a secret alliance with 2 out of the 3 and be like, we'll get rid of Figgy and Taylor next and form a formidable 4 where we'll all be threats when we do merge, if we merge. But assuming we merge, I think that could make a lot more sense. Like you take Michaela, Zeke, and they stick with Taylor and Figgy to vote off Cece.
David? Cece? Really?
Because she's threatening
maybe.
So far. She could be a threat because people like her. But in terms of strategy, or David, it could go either way. Not Ken, though, at this point. And then be like...
No, I think at that point they would keep Ken for physical strength and challenges. And I think Cece would be the target because at that point it's still a 2-tribe game and you still have to win those challenges. So Cece or David is the right person to vote out.
Yeah. And so, pick one of those, target them, but then be like... tell Ken, but see, maybe I'd vote out Ken because he's a loyalist. And I think he'd go to either one of his other tribe people and tell them, listen, they're targeting so-and-so. Is there anything we can pull together? Because he seems very loyal and emotional, and I don't know. So maybe they should target Ken with David and Cece. Feel like he could be.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Final tribal.
Because it's an 8-person millennial tribe versus 6 now for Gen X. I would love to see the swap go down 5-2 with 5 millennials and 2 Gen X, and then 4 Gen X and 3 millennials on the other tribe. So that each tribe could end up having a majority on one side or the other. But the only way to do that is a 5-2. And that's pretty much we're going to get those 2 out, and then it's us 5. Okay.
I always need to see charts because I'm like visual. I need to like be like, okay, and so and so and so and so. But then I'm like looking away from the camera and trying to draw a diagram. So I'm keeping up.
Maybe I'll put up a diagram next week for you, depending on how.
Like a PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, I can do that.
Thing on a dry erase board.
Did you have anything else you want to talk about from this episode?
Well, nothing. I really thought that Ken and Michaela were both equally impressive at the physical aspect of the hurdle part. Which challenge was that? Clearly, I got them confused. The first
that was immunity. That was immunity.
It was. Damn it. Okay. Ken like went whoosh whoosh whoosh, but Michaela was like badass in her own right. Like I think those two are the most physically threatening, even more than Chris at this point in this game in terms of individual immunity. Like once they stop doing the whole pack thing where Chris has definitely helped them, I think individually Ken and Michaela are going to be the ones to beat.
I agree with Michaela. I'm not sure that Ken's going to be the physical specimen that we want him to be. I think that would fall more on Taylor, I think, right now, being the guy that could pull off more Aussie-like challenge wins. Having balance, having speed. Chris is going to be slow. He's big. Balance is not going to be his strong suit, though the guy can swim like a fish. He really is. He's a great swimmer for as big as he is.
Yeah.
So, I like Ken, but I think Taylor will be more intimidating in the individual challenges. I think he'll have a better shot at winning individual immunity than Ken would.
But he might be an easier target and then sort of like ironically less of a threat. I never know if I'm ironically right, but
Ken kind of comes off to me as a little bit not smart. I'm not going to say dumb, but he's just not the brightest bulb in the box. So when these things come down to making a strategic call, like the coconut chopping game, or some what's in your box, that game that they do, I don't know that he has the mental acuity to pick up how to play the game once you get down to an individual level. It's a much different game.
Yeah, those are really good points. Maybe that's one reason I'd want to be in an alliance with him, partially. But I'd never want to turn on him because then he wouldn't like me. Ideally, I'd want to be loyal with him till the end and then have other people vote him out at the end. So he'd still give me his vote from the jury, but I wouldn't have to sit next to him on the jury.
See, you could get a jury vote where I wouldn't. I'd just be like, bye.
All
right, who do you think is going home next week?
Well, that's when the swap makes it more complicated. If it's just Gen X, I would still say Brett. If it was millennials, I was voting Hannah. Because I could see her. She's very emotional. And she seems like she's unraveling a little. She could be doing just the opposite. And I really like her. I don't want her to go, to be clear. I would love if she won the whole game. I could see her getting so into being like a swing vote, in a swing vote place, where she has all this power. Because maybe she was so used to, especially in such a physically challenging environment, it messes with your brain too. And if she's finally like, I'm in a position of power and not committing strongly enough to one side or another, I could see them pulling like a Christie from Amazon, where they're just like, your turn to go because we can't trust you. So let's just do the easy vote. We're going to probably merge or swap, and let's just stay strong because maybe she'll flip. That was just my guess. I don't know. I want her to stay.
I think for Hannah to be in danger, she needs to swap in a tribe full of really strong guys and be looked at as the only weak girl.
Yeah.
If it's Kayla and Hannah and a bunch of guys, it's Hannah. Because you still got to try to win challenges, so they're going to try to get rid of her. But if she ends up with a CC and a Jessica on her team, she can easily be like, these old women, obviously have to go before me. But she has to play the game too. And right now she's playing a very low key. She's fun. She's happy. Hey, have fun with your idol search kind of stuff. But eventually she's going to have to play.
He's probably the one I'd most likely to be friends with out of everyone on the whole season.
I agree with that. I think I would be friends most with. That's tough.
Yeah, definitely her and David for me.
God, that is really hard for me. I think I would be friends with either Hannah or maybe Zeke. I could hang with Zeke. I could have a good time with him. But yeah, none of the Gen Xers wouldn't get along with any of them. Maybe David a little bit.
I really like David, and he writes for television, and I could totally chill with him. I think I could chill with him.
Yeah, I think we'd have a little bit to talk about. It would be an interesting conversation. Whereas Brett and Chris, pass.
Kind of.
I got nothing for those guys. I got nothing for them.
They tend to be a little bro-ish than I usually hang with. I like Cece. I just don't know much about her yet.
Yeah, she's been very under the radar as well. So until some of these people actually play, we don't get to know them. So it's hard to say what Michelle's really like because we've only seen her do one move, and then it's been kind of Gen X heavy for the first month of the season, and that's what happens when you lose 2 challenges out of the 4 or 3. Yeah, 4. Yeah, 3.
Yeah,
they've only lost 1, right? Yeah. So
this again with the numbers, I need charts.
Yeah, we need charts. All right, charts next week, I promise.
All right,
that's gonna do it for
favorite movie would be, but numbers, it's like whoa.
Yeah, numbers are hard.
Math is hard. No, don't make fun of me.
All right. I'm done making fun of you for tonight. That's going to do it for this week. We'll be back next Thursday night. What night is it? Thursday? We'll be back next Thursday night at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific time for another episode of Nice Shirt Jeff. Until then, love many, trust you, and do harm to no one.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.